Yeah, Venerable sisters and brothers, Dhamma friends, today also we are going to take time on another talk, another continuation of the same series. May everyone settle down for this and give the consent with sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa Ye te bhikkhu bahusutta agamadara agatagama dhammadara vinayadara Mātika dhara te na sakkaccaṃ suttena taṃ paraṃ vācenti iti. Venerable sirs, sisters and brothers, Dhamma friends, we are going to touch upon the third aspect which Buddha is fine. Buddha is happy to teach us, whereby the well-being of many and well-being of oneself will be not achieved. Or whenever this point is being neglected and gone, it will be bad for the well-being of many, as well as well-being of yourself. Even though you are born in the dispensation of the Buddha, the teaching is available, but still there are 4 points where the Buddha recommend each and every one of us must take care and facilitate it so that it will helpful for many and happiness for many, and Bahujana Hitaya, Bahujana Sukhaya, Attaya Hitaya Sukhaya Deva Manusaya. It's good for you and good for your well-being, and both human and celestial. The first one to remember, give a summary. First one is to about the discourse, about the Sutta Pitaka. Discourses learned, badly acquired. They are not thoroughly understood. So they know it, but maybe only for the theoretical understanding, but no much of intellectually or in the vipassana way, they do not understand, not in a chintame way, and not into put into practice. So therefore it is just get limited to theory only, because understanding and spreading happen through the theory, as well as the inferential knowledge and the deductive knowledge. So inferential and deductive part is something intellectual between theory and the practice. So, and some people, they are not taking time. And the third one is they are not put into practice. That is called discourses have been badly acquired, badly set down words, and that means decoded in a wrong way. And the phrases, what the Buddha says, specifically present day, which is that Kuddaka Nikaya, which is the accumulation of small things after the first synod, carry so much of juicy thing, so much of spicy thing, and they are presented in 1 or 2 sentences, but very difficult to translate, and specifically the Sutta Nipata. And therefore presently there may be 5-6 translators. Some of them are monks and some of them are lay people, and still keep on practicing, translating. Because more you practice, more you get into it. So if it is not done, it will be limited to the just theoretical part, then the disappearance of the asana, as well as the bad for many people as well as for you. And second thing is, the listeners or the disciples, they are very arrogant, difficult to train, and they are not respectful. And their qualities are not conducive for the teachers to give the Dhamma. They put conditions and arrogant, and they are not good in absorption. And that is nowadays, even in the secular education, that is the case. And that is why tuition masters are taking the main advantage of it. And in the schools, more than 70%, 80% teachers are in tension. And if you take Sunday schools, different story. If it is in the Pirivena schools, different story. If you take the private schools, different stories. If you take the tuition masters, different stories. Because the many school teachers are fed up with, because a classroom should accommodate only 35, sometimes it is more than 50. They have to do within limited facilities, so they are fed up because students also not happy. So therefore, as I mentioned, many give up the job even after the training. So that is the same in the dispensation also. The newcomers, they are very difficult to train because they are with the preconceived ideas. They are very arrogant. That is what I mentioned, that as the Trappist monk mentioned, if you are humble, that is the sasana. That is the dispensation, simply put. But today, more educated, more moneyed, and more with the posts, and the elderly people have all the kind of facilities, very difficult. So this is not only in sasana work, even whatever the skills, they may be our way of teaching is wrong. We don't select the desired person. We just give in the common, and then some people, majority, are not happy. They have some other qualities. So that is why we have to put them into the camps, and we put into the different situation and make it more dramatic. But classroom is almost like an asylum. It's a ward in the hospital. 35 minutes, 35 students in one room under the influence of one teacher. So they are not happy. And that is the situation. And exactly the same in the 4 disciples, monks, nuns, lay devotees, male and female. They become more and more arrogant. So when they become more and more arrogant and very difficult to restrain or difficult to train, discipline, and then teachers become, that's the third point, they become discouraged. So best thing is to have a tuition master. Because everything become business Buddhism. Everything is money. So much of hours, so much of money. Then very nice the selection. But in Nissarana we decided no money. Never. So whenever this center started, and we inform in an informal way Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, and I told Bande, this is the way it happened, it's completely free. That is the tradition of Nissarana. That's the way it must go. But the attendance, the enthusiasm and dedication, if it is going down, it is not their weakness, it is not the teacher's weakness, but that is, whenever it is happening, it's bad for many. It's bad for your education also. Therefore, the humbleness, simplicity, the beginner's mind, and not to make difficulties to the teachers and the dispensation. So that is a kind of adaptation. It's a kind of evolution I find only among dispensation of the Buddha as well as the scouting, Girl Guides and the scouting. This is, you must be prepared. No one is asking you to come here. You must be prepared to take, not according to your measurement, not according to your likings and dislikes. You have to give it up. And you have to renounce and come here and practice as much as possible. Of course, it is not overnight. Of course, it is not by single sermon. So therefore you have to keep on practicing. That's the second thing. The third thing is what I recited. If the Agamadhara, Suttadhara, Vinaya, Dhammadhara, they hesitate to teach. They say, why should I take time? Because they are not interested in. And therefore they become better, they feel they better to go to the forest and practice myself. And that is a kind of a unfortunate situation. So if you take Indian history as well as Sri Lankan history, there were a lot of that kind of a difficult period. Specifically before the Emperor King Ashoka was converted to Buddhism, he was searching about and they found what happens. Only 236 years gone after the great demise of the Buddha, no monks, no single monk up to his knowledge, the king's knowledge. And where he try to find, the Moggalliputta says the best monk, he has gone to the forest, make a determination not to come to the society. So Emperor sent one message, he told no. Then he sent second message, no. And giving so much of conditions and making a case history only, he came back. Then he told, what can I tell? Because the monks are completely given up their basic thing. Instead, the counterfeit Dhamma as counterfeit monks are ruling, so therefore I can't. Then what should I do? Then you have to purify them. You have to get rid of the culling or waning off the wrong monks. So king himself started questioning. And he removed 60,000 monks, standard monks, and gave job and white clothes. And some more taken to the sasana. He told, yes, you are simple, humble, so we will give the facilities. And after so much of cleaning only, the second synod came into being. And then he found very difficult to maintain this vibration. So he sent 9 delegations to the 9 places, and they were very good monks. But what happened to the monks going to Burma? What happened to the monks going to the Greece? What happened to the monks went to the Avantipura and other places? I mean, they tried. But little time, they got discharged. Battery gone. They can't continue. But Sri Lankan rich soil gave so much of facilities because the king and the queens and everything got ordained, and they gave the support on the monk, the Arahant. Mahinda was happy, got down his sister also, and all the other relics. And he gave such a brilliant thing. Ultimately, he passed away in Sri Lanka. He never went back even. So when Jnanarama used to say, just study his mission and see, this is the missionary work. So you must take his example. He is coming to a different country, different language and all the kind of thing. He established in such a way because his dedication is not simple, it's extraordinary. And in the season of the Sri Lankan history also, there were very difficult time, the Vijayabhadra VI, and he found that Venerable Kassapa is completely gone to the forest, never coming. And then he took so much of pain to bring the monk into the society and revitalizing the sasana. So there were a lot of that kind of events. So many good monks, they go to the forest. And if you see the Maha Jataka, the Buddha says the King Bimbisara, King Kosala is seeing very bad 16 dreams. And he found that's the end of his regime and he got shocked. He wanted to sacrifice so much of animals and have to have rituals. But Mallika, the queen, she told, before killing these whole animals, please go and consult the Buddha. Then the Buddha gave the interpretation for his dreams. He says all the how to call, true people and virtuous people will go to the forest. Because the society is so corrupted. And whatever they are going to say, no one will listen. And ultimately they feel better not to take time, because people are not happy. They are also with a lot of questions and problems, and situation is no good. So it is going to happen in time to come. So it happened in number of occasions in Sri Lanka as well as in India. Ultimately Indian situation completely wiped off, finished. And from the Sri Lanka again went back to the whole countries, and all the commentarial work, it's a voluminous work, everything happened in Sri Lanka. And then if you go to Burma, it is a must. For each and every monk must have thorough understanding about the commentary, so they know Sri Lanka better than us. They know which country, where the town and what is the people and all the kind. So when we go to Burma, Sayadaw just questioning us. We don't know, because we have learned science subjects. We have never taken time to learn these things. Then he says, what? You all are so following the Western system, your calendar is lost. Buddhist calendar is never being used. And he says these kind of things. Still the Burmese, they have their own calendar. And all the values. Because they underwent so much of difficulties and they adhere into what is they are doing. But in Sri Lanka, we underwent the Dutch and British as well as Portuguese colonization, and people were attracted to that. Instead of this thing, so monks become sometimes discouraged. And Max Weber is explaining about the religious history. He says this is exactly the same for each and every religion. He says the classical age and neoclassical age, modernization and neo-modernization. After the 4 stages, the religious become an institutionalization and the hierarchy comes, values gone, and people just accustomed to this hierarchy. And this hierarchy just become luxurious and getting the government power, and they themselves corrupt, and they say completely misinterpret Buddhism or rather Buddha Dhamma. So whenever you look at it, you have to become a one-man army. Because you are not going to fight with them, but you have to have a non-coercive attitude, Apannaka Patipada. Don't fight with this, how do you call, Naga or Yakha or Makara, that means dragon. You just have your this thing. And you have to make your teacher interested in teaching. So sometimes when the disciple become so catalyzing the teachers are crying. Teachers are crying because there are some people and they make the teacher moved. So much you have to do. I mean, you are not yet Arahant. You are not yet the noble person. But you know how difficult the Dhamma is. And you have to read the Dhammas on the Jataka. The king heard the now Sasana gone, but not a single one can recite even single Gatha. So we went to the forest and in search of, they are not going to the Peradene University Library. They are not going to the Ceylon room. They are not going to the big library. They go to the forest. And the Saka, the king of the god, he just wanted to check it. I told that, are you ready to kill, are you ready to sacrifice your body for learning Dhamma? Yes. Even at that level, I have to learn Dhamma. So then I told, you climb this mountain and jump into my mouth. While you are jumping, I will recite Dhamma. So the king decided, never mind. I just want to listen Dhamma. So he has to sacrifice life. And that is the way, under utter dirt situation, the disciples to stimulate the teachers, otherwise they become flat off. And when the religious situation deteriorate. It deteriorates in a pattern. So I learned little adult psychology, whereby Max Weber, Durkheim and Karl Marx taken as the three characters. One of the Dr. Deegan, my professor, was teaching me. I can't understand what they are talking about. It's nonsense because I am just a bumpkin. I do need not any PhD or any postgraduate, but I was just listening. But anyway, I think I got passed. So after that, there was a paper article in the paper. Bhikkhu Bodhi is writing a review on the work of the kings. Work of kings. So when I read, I found someone has quoted Max Weber and explaining what is happening in Sri Lanka. That may be about 15 years ago. So I wrote to Bhikkhu Bodhi. Then he told, please, and I doubt whether he sent his copy. Yes, he was in BPS. He sent me a copy. He said, don't read the early 4 chapters because it is about the Max Weber. And the balance area is how it is deteriorating. It says monks are doing king's work. Politics. Then onward, you can't wash and clean. So luckily I read the Max Weber also because I had some familiarity. Later I purchased my own copy. I had 2 copies. I have given many people and many are not happy to hear what is the situation in Sri Lanka. It's written by one Mr. Seniviratna in the Chicago University. Every data is published data. It's such an integrity in classic writing. Bhikkhu Bodhi says, if someone can translate this into Sinhala. I think earlier one was the betrayal of Buddhism by the Tambaya. It has been cancelled. It has been banned. This book was almost banned, but not yet. So there you can see how the deterioration happened. Even the deterioration happens, mindfulness is not inflicted, not affected. Not a single these people, even the Max Weber or the Seniviratna, they are not looking the Dhamma, looking the Sasana from the mindfulness point of view. So they were desperate. They were thinking that it is deteriorating, it will never revive. But my perspective was, we had a little group in Kandy called Veluwana Dhamma group, and everyone was, no, we are not worried about all these things. We are very quite learned. We are aware of the situation. And I am coming from the Buddhist family. I am coming from the Buddhist village. And I know what they are telling. But mindfulness never get inflicted, never get affected. So therefore still you can go against the grain and drive through, and for that you can see many teachers are discouraged. Imagine even the Moggallana to be and the Sariputta to be, they were completely, utterly disgusted about the society. So they were very rich family from, and they were well learned. They go in searching the Dhamma. And Kolita and Upatissa by name, lay name. And they met Venerable Asuji. And by looking at his behavior and the demeanor, he found out this man is something different. And he went and asked, Bhante, may I wash your bowl? Yes, you can do it. Can you attend to you? Yes, you can do it. May I know that what is the practice you are doing? Who is your teacher? He said, I am very sorry. I know only very little. I am a newcomer to the Sasana, and therefore I hesitate to teach. That you can see. Many know a little bit of mindfulness. If you go and ask to teach someone, they say, no, I am sorry. I don't know. They little hesitate. I am not finding fault with that. That is the nature. Exactly the same. He told, I am sorry. Then he says, Bhante, you try. I will learn in 1,000 manners, in 1,000 facets. So, before finishing the stanza, by telling the 2 phrases, he got enlightened. He knows how to, and Venerable Jnanarama used to say, after that, Venerable Sariputta immediately became the chief disciple of the Buddha because he's such a dynamic person. He's such a active person, and so much of the admonishment he received from the Buddha, because he has been sent for difficult missions. But after finishing all the day's task, he contemplate and see where is Venerable Assaji, and he prostrate and pay respect before sleeping. Because he is the one made him such a valuable teacher. Otherwise teachers they are not happy to share. So therefore it is also so, we being disciples, we have to search. Before going to Burma, I met few monks and I told that in Sri Lanka, after Venerable Jnanarama's demise, I thought of going to Burma. I got a free ticket. Of course, I went like a royal guest on red carpets. And then when I go there, I was searching about to Pandita Sayadaw because of In This Very Life, the book. Then everyone told, if you go there, if you wish to cry, no mercy. It's such a regimentation. Then I told, never mind. Not only that, you have to eat fish and meat. Because Burmese is always no vegetarian. And you have to do rising and falling, not dhanapana. Then I told, never mind, whatever may be, if he is a good person, if it's worth, I am going. So when I go there, he was not there. And when he comes, I try to get my best. What I did was, in secret way, I learned Burmese language. And luckily enough, he prepared a separate table for us. Only 4 months we were in the vegetarian. Of course, he treated us. And the language, rising and falling, 18 months, very difficult to communicate. He never appreciated Anapanasati. So I was expert, but daily when I am writing my report, I am mentioning Anapanasati. He chased me out. Get out, you go and do rising and falling. So after that only, again came the request from Nissarana, you are wanted back it. Then he told, but your meditation is okay, but to teach, you have to be at least 1 year seasoning, 1 year of, reinforcements. And throughout you can see, very difficult to have an access to him. Such a distance, it's a way. And if you wish to read that character, please read Milarepa Amavatura. It has been translated into Sinhala, how the Milarepa, the Mahayana person got the message from the teacher. Teacher has chased him out 7 times. And he was packing his bag to go back home. But lucky enough, the master had 7 wives. And one very good lady, she mentioned, Puta, this is the way he is. No mercy. But you have to keep on with him, and then only, after testing only, he will give you the real Dhamma or the gist. Milarepa Amavatura. And then Milarepa got the message. There's not such a message as such. I'm telling you, he got the humbleness. And he started writing very nice poems. And it has been translated into Sinhala. I got number of copies and distributed. How you should be. The teachers are very hard. Teachers are very merciless like. Yes, it is a character. But still, if you know this is the way it is happening, you have to make yourself a receiver to have it. So my character as a person, even the postgraduate director, he wrote me as a character certificate. He told, you are unassuming and how you know how to satisfy the leaders. I have never heard the term unassuming. What is the meaning? And I am that, but I don't know. And he says, wherever you go, you know how to satisfy your teacher. So these terms I learned, I came to know after his observation. He is a Tamil person. We had association 1 or 2 years like. So this unassuming quality, non-coercive quality, can make the teacher melting. And we have that character. As we young people, we know how to seek the love from the mother. It's a kind of a natural thing. So therefore, how the connection with this and your purification? What is the connection with this and your renunciation? What is the relationship between the disenchantment and the disenchantment of the many people? They may find very difficult to work with this monk. He is very tough and he is not taking time to teach and kind of thing. I mean, that is a kind of a hardening. It is called case hardening. Once the case hardening is very difficult to get the sap. But still, I am telling again, if you know the art of mindfulness, you can melt rocks. No harm. You can. Maybe at your deathbed. Never mind. So that is the way the mindfulness makes such a exudes, it oozes, and it conditions the outside areas, whether it's a Mahayana or Theravada, or whether it's a Jesus Christ, or whether Zarathustra, whether it's the Brahmapadartha, no harm. You can get the essence, because you know how to adapt into. So I am always putting from the disciples' point of view. But the point the Buddha is making, the teachers become Agamadara, Suttadara, Vinayadara. They are not happy to teach others. So that is the lost. That's called Nimi Parampara. Our lineage is finished. So one day when Venerable Ananda was telling the Buddha, Bhante, which is marvelous and which is good and all the kind of thing, and the Ananda, when the Buddha is admonishing Ananda, don't let it be Nimi Parampara. Don't extinct it by your demise. At least teach to someone. And that is the way happening. And I found, if you are going to teach theory, definitely you will get flat off. If you are going to give the inferential knowledge, definitely you will get flat off. But if you are going to give Dhamma, if you get in terms of meditation, you will be ever encouraging. That is why what happened in today. The teachers are taken the cheap methods, the theory teaching, and the inferential knowledge, that deductive knowledge. I am not telling it is bad, but whenever you are teaching that way, utterly they discourage. No nonsense, do meditate, do mindfulness, then you will get encouraged. One day a team from Nissarana went to Venerable Ananda Maitreya. He was the most elderly person, and go there and ask Bhante, where everyone is doing normal meritorial deeds, but they are utterly discouraging because a lot of Mara, that means Satan, lot of difficulties. Yes, he says, in my life was the same. If you are going to do good things, you will get discouraged. And after pause he says, not for Vipassana. Vipassana never get discouraged, because you are always in a comfort zone. You are always in a middle path. And if you do not see that in mindfulness, I say you don't know mindfulness. So whenever you are learning mindfulness, it's a lifelong experiment. The day you understand mindfulness, you will never react with anything. That Apannaka Patipada, or non-coercive method, Venerable Jnanaponika put that into the power of mindfulness. And in translation, I put everything I knew. Then BPS told, this is not the translation of Venerable Jnanaponika, that is Dhammajiva's interpretation. So you have your own rights to publish it. I told her, what a beautiful thing. I got permit, I published 5,000 books. I translated that into Tamil. But this is not what Venerable Jnanaponika is writing. I am putting out of my pocket. No. He is talking about how to be non-coercive. Otherwise you are ever fighting with others. And the teachers will discourage, because teachers are taking cheap popularity. They are very happy to give theoretical teaching and inferential knowledge, but they are verified knowledge. So when I was giving a sermon in Kanduvada, at that time we had no any retreat center, there was a American monk. He has gone to the Vietnam War, and he came and told Bande, I feel sometimes happy with you, but you are talking about your experience. It is not accepted in Theravada. My teacher told, your experience showing me that you are showing you are an arahant. So you are boasting yourself. So my teacher was completely other way around. He never quotes any example beyond the traditional Theravada text. So I asked, do you feel that I am like an arahant? No, I am an idiot. I am not an arahant, but that is what happened to me. I don't think it is being prohibited in the Buddha, but your teacher may be. I am lucky I am not a disciple of your teacher. But Nissarana Vanaya is a heaven for that. Not any single place on the earth I found. They are very, very highly learned. They are highly in the grammar and every kind of thing. But teaching-wise, they are very discouraged. This is either we have money, we have this and that. But wherever you go for mindfulness, wherever you go for vipassana, the door is completely open. And she says, please come on this way, not the way that you need. So for that, lay people found difficult to adopt it. Monks, I don't think it's a special case, but they have to, because their whole life is to become enlightened. But many do not happy with direct vipassana. They say, no, vipassana is at last. So beforehand you have to do this and this and this and that and all the kind of thing. And our life is not enough. So therefore, the teachers become discouraged. That is one of the reason, the disappearance of the dispensation. So you also have your own little way of compensating it. The little thing you know. Don't hesitate out of your, how do you call the shyness, or sabakole ita mokadda kiyanne single English එක? Social stage fear. Am I correct? Stage? Yeah. So many people think it's as my reservation and I am shy. I thought if I don't know English, I will teach in English. So that is my wild way. I took my degree in English. Because I know agriculture. My father is agriculture. What to learn from the professors in English? In agriculture. I can teach anyone. But in English, luckily I got not failed. I got the 3rd class degree. I am very happy. So that's the way it's happening. So therefore you must understand the teachers are utterly discouraged. So therefore they should have a certain amount. If someone is very encouraging and teaching, they are missionary. They are being hired. They are very eloquent. They are articulating so nicely. And Upanishad says, even the rock statue will say, yes. But they are utterly missionary. They are not mindful. So therefore, when you come to this point, your contribution and your little way is to share it whatever it may be, and you can understand whatever the way you practice, you can't write a good report. You don't know how to write. Know that I am telling you do not wish to expose, but that is your underlying tendency, confidential, secret, private and confidential, utterly suffering. Utterly suffering. And nuns are very, very specific on that. I am telling openly. Anyone you try and help nuns, you can see. Everything is private and confidential. I mean, the feminine character, but the males, not always. There are some male like females and female like males. In the monks also the same. So your little way will give a kind of an example for others. This early part of meditation path, we all have some experience. And don't hide it. due to the private and confidence. I mean, whenever someone is invited, just present yourself. But if you go to Burma, very little amount of monks can give a sermon. If anyone going to give a sermon, he will be respected like anything. Because unless otherwise you are perfect in grammar, unless otherwise you are perfect in Pali, they are not allowing others to give sermon. So we went to about 12 monks from Sri Lanka, everyone can give a sermon. They was amazed to hear. How come that? Because my point still I am telling, if you are talking about mindfulness, if you are living up to mindfulness, your path is no hindered. It is not covered. But anyone going to say, I can't meditate due to that, I can't progress due to that, this and that, that means your mind made impediments. Because you make it your personal issue. That may be part and parcel why the learned monks become hesitate, because they want to give the perfect. That is called pedantic in dictionary language. And the last one, the Buddha is mentioning, the elderly monks, they become luxurious, consumerization. And they are going to live in a completely different elite group. And that is common in Burma, Thailand, Sri Lanka, everywhere. Bahulika, Satalika. So the Buddha says, if you to ruin, if you are to defeated in sasana, 4 things the Buddha mentioned about asavatthaniya dhamma. That is well explained in the Vinaya Pitaka translation as well as in the Anguttara Nikaya also. Whenever you become more elderly, you are slowly getting out of the practice. Whenever you have a lot of disciples, you are busy with them and you are slowly going out of it. Whenever people give so much of fame, gain and all the kind of thing, you lost. Whenever you become more learned, you think, no, I am not working with the normal people, simple beings. I am such a person. So you are slowly getting out of that. But as a young monk, we expect these all 4. We expect how to be highly learned person and highly respected person, lot of disciples and lot of vasa, seniority. They are all called as asavatthaniya. That means get corrupted. And we are living in a classic example in the present day Buddhism. So therefore you have to see, whenever you become mindful, you become very humble, you become very simple. And the teacher and the disciple, no difference. All are in the same boat. But whenever it is coming to the worldly education, secular education, you see hierarchy. And whenever it has become religion, you see the hierarchy. You see the sectarianism. You feel the finding fault with others. So dirty, so ugly. But it indicates the truth of suffering. Even you are a religious person, you have to think about the murderers. You have to think about the adulterers. You have to think about the robbers. I have nothing to say special. But even become a good people. So Kahneman, he has written a book, why good people are arguing on religion and political matters. Everyone wishes to be a good person. Even after becoming a good person, you are fighting about the sectarianism, you are fighting about the religion, you are fighting about the politics. So that is being asked in the Attakavaka Sutta Nipata. Buddha is asking, the Buddha is creating an imaginary Buddha, and that Buddha is asking, why these good people are arguing each other? They say, myself is the first, correct. All the others rest is the wrong. Is it truth? Why the good people are arguing each other? So Buddha has to give a long answer. It is no black and white answer. So we are discussing in each Tuesday, in the English medium discussion, why good people are arguing. And they expect that specifically, except mindfulness, if you are going along the business world or academic world or religious world, you naturally become consumerization, luxuries. And they wanted to have so much of conditions, bahulika, satalika, and ultimately very difficult to achieve. And that is the fourth stage, according to Max Weber. When the people accept Buddhism is the best and we have to treat the monks and kind of thing, ultimately these falsified monks or counterfeit monks, they get everything. And ultimately they make a cult group or elite group. And they no practice as such. And they have all the powers. But I am still telling, even that is the situation. You to humbly you have to be mindful, doesn't matter. But you have to understand why, if you are not along the mindful way, you are talking and dealing with so much of branches. You are getting so much of amusement and misled. And while you are practicing, very difficult you to be with the team, be with the simple mindfulness, humbleness. Because something is your underlying tendencies, the other thing is bad examples and your habituation. But when you keep on practicing, you have to see the Buddha. 45 years he lived on the earth. As such a humble person, king, living like a pauper. King living like a beggar. What a wonderful life. 45 years he lived like a beggar. No slippers, just wandering. And the king is waiting there to come and become a Chakravarti, the world-turning monarch. But he was just like that. And just read Jesus Christ. I love that character. Always going to the sinners and live with them. And exemplified. Only you can read Jesus through Mary Magdalene. Not the other apostles can give a correct perspective. And Mary Magdalene's explanation about the Jesus, you feel it's more than a monk. Always living with the normal way. And Zarathustra also, as a normal being, and he has given so much of good things. And you read the Proverbs in the Bible, in the King James translation. Oh, such a humbleness it is talking. And go to the church and see. Go to the Vatican and see what is happening. Because naturally they become luxurious. So you also, when the mindfulness is good, you are so bound to get so much of bountiful harvest. I am assuring you, yes, but don't miss the bus. Be adhere to your simpleness, mindfulness. So many people are finding fault with that, how you are always talking about the bare attention, why you are not talking about the power of mindfulness, what you are not talking about the Samma Sati. I am telling, no, leave it aside. I am talking about the just entering Sati, just the beginning of the Sati, just the Sati Matra. When are you going to teach the higher Dhamma? No, you learn, you can have, because if you get the Chatta Sankayana CD, you can learn everything. I am not taking that contract. I am just saying it's a simple way, it's a beginner's way. And mindfulness is keeping all the time. So there are few people still living with me about in 70 and 80s. They are so humble, so simple. They are happy to see each other because we have not assumed anything. We are not gaining anything. But very happy whether bankruptcy happened in Sri Lanka or any lack of jobs, no opportunity, no problem. Because you know how to live, how to thrive, how to be with the utility value. But instead, if you see that high rankers and they are talking and giving so much concern, accept it as it is. Don't react, because otherwise you are wasting your time. So therefore, even the Buddha appeared on the earth. Even the Dhamma, the message is there to learn it in the proper way, there is no single way. Only the trial and error. Only the trial and error. When you keep on practicing, you straightening. That is called dittiju karma. Your crooked view will be straightened. That's why Isaac Newton mentioned, when there is no friction, things are moving in the straight line. When the things are there, you are very shrewd. You are very perverted. So social life is such. But still, mindfulness, making such the frictionless path or comfort zone, before going to Nibbana, you feel Nibbana. Before going to that ideal situation, whenever you try to you be mindful, just with the breath, just with the comfortable sitting, just with the walking up and down, just when you are eating. Whenever you come mindfulness, you see that gives the glimpse of Nibbana, and it is not in the next Buddha Sasana or not in the India. It is here and now. So to come up to that level, each and every thought moment is a challenge. Each and every thought moment is an opportunity. That's called Kshana Sampatti. So Kshana Sampatti you can't buy in the supermarket. It is not in the bank. You have to earn it. And we are the only people on the earth at least sacrifice so much for that. And we have all the tools, we have all the raw materials, equipments. So therefore don't think that we have to do a lot. Instead think we have passed a lot. Little bit is available, that also you have to earn. It is not a bonus. No one can come and bless you or bliss you. It is just jokes. Keep on practicing. While practicing, keep all the time, we are living in the Buddha's time, Buddha Sasana. And always think, the Dhamma is like a welding lamp. It's burning. It is there. So you have to get your proportion, and you have to decoding and everything, though still you have to have these four qualities. And you don't feel you like an individual, you like a sick person, or you like a defeated person. No. It is utterly necessary. Your role, your contribution. And when it is happening, you see all the difficulties will go and light will emerge. Of course, we are being taught that you are lucky to have your time during the time of the contemporary time of the Buddha. So they are desperately waiting. I am very sorry we became late. And Sri Lanka is the only country paying respect to the last Arahant. All the other countries try to become Arahant. But we are going to Maliyadeva Maharatan Vansi and say, I am very sorry that he's been dead and box has been closed, nailed. So we have to go there and just say sorry. That's the way we are being taught by our parents. But whenever you come to the mindfulness, we get different kind of parents, we get different kind of teaching, we get different kind of a challenge, and we have everything. So therefore in Satipasala, we mark mindfulness. Mindfulness is your birthright. There is nothing to teach. We are just catalyzing it. And this sutta, in that sense, give your due value, never put into the inferiority. You try your best to tell I have no this and I have no that, I am inferior. That is, I call in Sinhala Charuchuru. I don't like Charuchuru. We are so lucky. So I am going to end the sermon, and this will be the last in the series. So be happy here and now, and see all the live wire is there. As you like, you can swim in it. You can put a somersault. You can put a pole vault and entertain it. Don't postpone. Because all the others will say, why you are in such a hurry? We'll go together. No. No, so two people. I here now myself. And that is becoming successful due to the success of the mindful school. So I am very happy to share at any time So therefore I am always happy to share with your experience. So therefore always refer to this particular sutta, Sachitaka Sutta, and there Buddha is going to give a living message, not it is time tested. It is time tested, it is not corrupted by time. You are the person to enliven it. With that encouragement, I would like to sum up this talk as well as the series of talks. Thank you very much for listening.